Productive Disruption is a podcast presented by Rhodes Branding, spotlighting bold and innovative ideas that have the ability to reshape K-12 education. If you're looking for actionable ideas about how to operate and innovate your school, you've come to the right place. Let's get started.
Welcome to another episode of Productive Disruption. I'm your host, Molly McGowan-Gorsuch, and I'm the Director of Client Engagement at Rhodes Branding. On this episode, we're taking you behind the scenes of an exciting 10-school rebrand project for Dothan City Schools in Alabama. To paint the full picture of this successful collaboration from the district and branding agency perspective, we're talking with Dothan's Public Relations Officer, Meagan Dorsey, and Rhodes Branding's own Creative Director, Michael Ho. Meagan and Michael, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you. I'm very excited.
Thanks for having us.
Okay, so I love the origin story for this project because it's a reflection, honestly, of best practice in district leadership, which is tuning into stakeholders' feedback. So Meagan, tell us a little bit about these elementary students' requests to your superintendent about and how this whole thing got started.
So I like to say way back in the day, so about 5 years ago when I started here at Dothan City Schools as the Public Relations Officer, I had some things in my head that I wanted to do, and I was motivated to do. I'm a product of the school system, so it was very interesting to see the different things that made up our system. And I saw that, we had a lot of elementary schools. We had the amount of elementary schools has fluctuated through the years. So we had about 10 to 11 elementary schools, and they all had different mascots and logos, and it looked a little disjointed. It didn't look like we were part of a cohesive family. So that was something that was always in the back of my mind that I wanted to do, but I didn't want to come out the gate as this new public relations person and say, we have to redo the entire district logos. Also, at the time when I came on, they had just closed a whole bunch of schools. They had consolidated a high school. So it was a lot of things that the community, they were a little shooken up at the time. So I was like, that was not the time for change. So that was 5 years ago. And that was just something that I had, been mentioning to my superintendent. That's my goal. I would love to see it. Our high school, they have consolidated from the Tigers and the Cougars into now the Wolves, which was a mascot that was chosen by the high school students when they decided to consolidate. They chose the colors. That way, they're not both cats, they're now wolves. So, when the high school became the Wolves, and then eventually our junior high school, they became the Wolves. And then we had a 9th grade academy, and they were the Wolves. And it just started to trickle down. And then sometime last fall, I had the conversation with my superintendent, and I remember at the beginning of last school year, I had mentioned this, in a meeting with our operations team. I was like, I would love to see it one day. Just putting it out there. A couple months later, we have what we call our Superintendent Student Advisory Council, and that is made up of about 16 students. They are 5th grade and above from all of our schools. And they sat down and we said, what is something that you would like to see? This was the very first meeting. This was in September. Very first meeting. And one student said, I would like to feel like I am part of the Wolfpack. We call it the Wolfpack. I would like to feel like I am part of everything that the other schools are doing. We always said when the high schools came together, we had hashtag one city, one team, because back in the past, the Cougars and the Tigers, we had that rivalry. So we were one city, one team now. So when that student said, I would really feel like I'm all part of one. We would like to be wolves too. And it's funny because my superintendent, he looked at me and he has this thing he does. It's scary and it's funny at the same time, where he looks at me, he goes, I was just like, he just rubbed his hands together like a cartoon villain, but it's in a funny way. And he just looks at me. And after that meeting, he said, did you hear that? I was like, yep. He said, let's get started. And that kind of got the ball rolling. I put fillers out there to, my Inspira group to say, hey, we want to make wolf puppies. We have the big wolves in the high school and secondary, but we want to have wolf puppies. And I put our fillers out there, and Rhodes Branding, they came to the rescue, and we had those meetings, and I cannot speak any more highly of how well it went. And we're so excited that this was the result.
Well, we definitely had a lot of fun with this project as well. And kind of going back to that process, when you first put out those feelers, our partnership, I know, really kicked off in mid-December of 2023. And that's when our team started doing our research and discovery process, which is, going into getting the feedback from all 10 elementary schools, not just their administrators and their teachers and staff, but then ultimately we did go and speak to students. But first, let's talk a little bit about what that looked like with the teachers, staff, and administrators. Michael, can you give us a little bit of background on that?
Yeah, sure. So when we go through a rebrand, feedback from the community and stakeholders really help to shape the brand. So I would say it's really the foundation from where we build the design from, right? So one of the actually really fun and challenging parts of this project was to answer the question, how do you unify all 10 elementary schools through the logo of a puppy wolf and yet have each one still be distinctive and unique, right? And so to answer this question, we needed that feedback from the key stakeholders of each school. And so we used our brand perception survey. And in that survey, we asked questions to the key stakeholders about the school's values, mission, and even more abstract questions about how you describe the school's brand. And it's really, it's designed to give us information, internal and external, about each school, but it really leaves that door open for artistic interpretation.
So, and I don't want to give too much away, but Michael, some of the questions I think, when people talk about these brand perception surveys, can you give us like a sneak peek of what some of those, you said those abstract questions might be, just to kind of show folks what it is, the kind of things that we're asking?
Yeah, sure. So more of abstract would be what is the emotion of the logo you wanted to evoke when someone views your visual identity, or even another one is, if your brand could move, here are some descriptors. Select which ones that apply.
I love that one, the movement one. So building off of that, I know those brand perception surveys, that those played that huge role in shaping the identity of all 10 personas. So now let's talk about personas. Michael, what does that process look like?
Yeah, I would say the responses from the brand perception survey. I mean, I felt like we were able to find quotes from stakeholders that really encapsulated each of the school's persona. So whether it's an overwhelming support for science from one school, and that ultimately translated to the persona of scientists, or even learning through the stakeholders that the student body is really into music and they're all updated on the latest trends. And that ultimately translated to the persona of trendsetters, right? So that's really how we developed the personas. And as we started to develop the visual identity even further, the next step was to figure out, how do you showcase that externally? How do you showcase scientists on a puppy wolf, and how's that going to be embodied through the logo itself? And the way we ultimately landed on brand colors and their outfits to help highlight their persona. And so for scientists, you had puppy wolf with, I'm sorry, let me take that back. So for scientists, you had a puppy wolf with goggles and a lab coat, or trendsetters that translated to a puppy wolf with a stylish backpack and headphones.
Now, Meagan, do you have a favorite? Are you allowed to have a favorite?
So the scientist was cute because I loved his little tie. I don't know. I think my favorite, and this just comes with the response, was the archer with our Highlands Elementary School. And I think it was great because, we received, the initial drafts of all of the wolves, and I showed them to our superintendent and the personas, and, I was going through all of them. And one of them, I think Highlands, I can't remember what they originally were, but I remember showing it to my superintendent. He was like, again, he likes to build you up and make you think on your own without giving you the answer. So he looked at it and he said, Meagan, they should have a different persona. What are they really known for at their school? What is something that's unique about their school that we weren't able to really put in? I think they put it in the survey, but it was just something different that we didn't even think about. And he said they're the only school in our district that they are award-winning archers. They have an archery team. So that was like, it is still moved with the the movement and the energy and everything that came with the brand survey. But it was just that little tweak, and we turned them into archers. And I remember we made that change before we even showed the principal. And when I showed the principal, she was ecstatic. She was like, you get us. You know us. Because they have a student right now that's a nationally, she's been at a national competition. So that's what is unique about their school is our archery team. So I like that just because of the response. But there's so many. I do like the Explorer too. It's just so many. You can't just pick one, but they're all fantastic.
And I like that story particularly because it really does showcase the back and forth, right? Like how this is an ongoing dialogue, between agency, and district, but also district and stakeholders, community, and it's just an ongoing dialogue to really get to the heart of the persona, the heart of what moves this particular school, what moves this particular this puppy wolf, right? For better or for worse. So ultimately, after this process, I know using those insights from each school community, our graphic designer Hunter developed a suite of these wolf pup mascots for the schools, and like you mentioned, Meagan, created a couple different versions for each of the schools to ultimately choose from. Now, this is where it gets really fun. Let's talk about the voting process. Michael, can you go into that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. Hunter did a fantastic job crafting 2 different logo bases for the puppy wolves. And we know we wanted to empower the students with a selection process. And actually, the idea came from Jenny, our marketing strategy director. She mentioned how her child would often bring home coloring pages. And so that's when we decided, it'd be a great idea if we put both the puppy wolf bases on one page, and the students could fill in the puppy wolf of their choice to cast their vote towards their Wolfpack.
All right. So from your perspective, Meagan, how did this voting process look? What did it look like in the schools? And then can you tell us a little bit about what the response was from not just the students, but I'm sure the overall school community had some fun with it as well.
So I thought it was fun because it was like a little sneak peek. They didn't know exactly what was going on. So it's fun to see the coloring pages being delivered to the schools, and we deliver them to all 10 of the schools. And I said, okay, they picked one side because I printed them on one sheet of paper so they could pick which side they wanted. And they could keep these, they could hang them up in the hallways so they could start showing off these wolves. But I know it was a great response. I remember, because I set a deadline for the principals to get me the numbers of the responses. And I remember one principal emailing me back. She was like, I'm hurry up to get some in, but I might color in some for myself. Unfortunately, she did not get the wolf that she wanted. I think she wanted the one that was standing up. But she said that it was just so much fun. The kids were really excited. They were able to take this little token home with them, and it's a good way of they could take it home, show their parents. Their parents were like, what what's going on? This seems exciting. And look, you get to choose who you want it to, who your wolf to be, and make it unique to yourself, because as you'll see with all of our personas, they're unique to the schools, but now the kids get to add their own personality to their own little individual wolf at their own level.
I love that. And like you said, yes, it is kind of bringing home that messaging, kind of a sneak peek to the parents, but I'm sure it also kind of also empowered the students and showed them that, hey, your voice does matter, and you're part of this really big decision that is ultimately going to impact the district. So that's really cool. And I know we talked about this. We applauded you and your superintendent about really making this an entirely really student involved process, and we love seeing that. So this voting took place in February, and by April, the new branding was ready to launch. And I really also love the way that your school district really hyped up the rebrand. Again, kind of not just that sneak preview, right, with the take-home coloring sheets, but y'all strategically executed this rollout. And I would love to hear you just kind of take us through your process, because that had to have been quite the communication plan.
I remember we were discussing how we were going to do this launch. And I think I was on the call with Kate and Jenny, and I was just like, I want to do like a rolling pep rally. I might be insane, because just a month prior, I had went to every one of the elementary schools in like 2 hours delivering these coloring sheets, and that almost took me out. So, going to all 10, because our city, the elementary schools are not close together. They are across the city. So 10 elementary schools, but I wanted to, in my grand idea, I just wanted to just do these pep rallies. Usually, when our students have testing, like ACAP testing or any other type of state testing, the principals like to do pep rallies at their schools to motivate them to, do really good. And sometimes they'll bring in the high school cheerleaders or the band. So that was, something they'll do a small, version of that. And I remember at our superintendent student advisory council meeting, some of the students were like, well, I wish at the elementary school we had more pep rallies. And so I was like, okay, interesting. Then I wanted to really make sure that it's this whole Wolfpack thing. Yes, these are going to be wolf puppies, but let's bring in the big wolves. And I really wanted them to basically embrace our baby wolves, our wolf puppies. So I remember just saying, you know what, we're going to go to all 10 elementary schools. We're going to show off every unique logo. We're going to have a mini pep rally. We're going to get on the bus and we're going to go to another school. And I was very passionate about that. And I don't know what I was thinking, but we were able to get to all 10 elementary schools in one school day, and before the school day ended. And so that was from about 7:40 a.m. to 2:30. We pulled back up at central office, and the high school kids, they were able to eat. So that was great. I forgot to tell you a little bit of the elements of the pep rally.
Yeah, please tell us.
So the elements of the pep rally. We had our high school marching band, the Pride of the Wolfpack marching band. We had our Dothan High School cheerleaders. We had confetti poppers. We had huge banners. And we also purchased pom-poms for every student at every elementary school. So that's over 4,000 pom-poms. And we deliver those to the schools. We also deliver sticker sheets with our wolf puppy. I have a sample right here in my water bottle. Yes. We deliver those stickers, and we said they're embargoed until 1 p.m. on Friday. And so I made a spreadsheet. I'm all about my spreadsheets. And we timed out, got on Google Maps, figured out, okay, it's 15 minutes to this school. It's 5 minutes to this school. We'll have 20 minutes. So every pep rally was 20 minutes or less. And then we had to also calculate the time in. So we left central office. We'll go to the first school. All the kids are outside waiting. They have their pom-poms. They're shaking the pom-poms. We're on a school bus we call it Wolf Force One, which is our activity school bus that is very popular. It has Dothan High Wolves on the side. It's our school colors. And we love this bus. And the kids are outside waving their pom-poms, and here comes the older wolves, the older high school kids, and they're getting off the bus, and the cheerleaders are already going. We have our big wolf mascot, and the kids are excited. And here comes the band. The band is going through all their songs that they play at football games. And so we do a couple cheers, we do a couple songs, and then the cheerleaders, they hold each side of the banner, and we let the principal say a couple of words. We had one school bring out their old mascot, and that old mascot said bye to everybody. And then we did a countdown. They unrolled the banner, and we had confetti poppers. We cheered, showed off the logo, got back on the bus, and went to another school. So we did that to all of our elementary schools. It was so much fun. Our kids were tired, but they were so excited. They loved embracing our baby wolf puppies. And they said, next time you do this, I said, we're not doing that again. For a very long time, but they were very excited to do it. So I think that was one of the most fulfilling moments of my career, because you saw the different type of student. You see the baby student, you see the older student, you see students all across your district. And now they're all unified as wolves. So it was amazing.
And I also kind of wanted to call out the fact that by doing this, you also were strategically really introducing this Wolfpack, these new wolf puppies to the students themselves. And then ultimately, obviously, sharing that out on social media, and also taking home, some take homes and stuff for parents and families. But I thought it was really, really special to really allow the students to embrace this and make this their own. And again, kind of talking about like that internal stakeholders first, right? Making sure that they're aware and they're in the loop, so to speak. So I thought that was really cool. And I know from our perspective, we heard a lot of good things from Hunter and Ginny, because they were able to actually travel to Alabama and ride Wolf Force One with y'all to participate in the rebrand. So Michael, tell me a little bit, because I know you work directly with Hunter, and how it's got to be particularly special for him to see his designs not only come to life, on the page, but actually like on a basketball court and on, stickers that kids are wearing. So what's it been like for him and for you to see your work be celebrated and embraced by a school community or a whole school district?
Yeah. Personally, I mean, I really wish I could have been able to attend the rebrand tour. Hunter and Ginny had nothing but, amazing things to say about the community reception as well. But before I get to that question, I do just want to shed light on, the feat of coordinating a rebrand tour across 10 elementary schools in one day. 10 elementary schools in one day. I mean, hats off to you, Meagan. That's truly special. The effort your team, your community that you put in, that really just speaks the volumes to the strength of your community.
And I just want to make a note too that I was in one person department up until 20 days before this event.
Amazing. Yeah. And then Molly, to go back to your question, for me, I think for me, it was really great to be able to go back in time in a way through the post-production process. And I was able to see through the moments that were captured through photo and video, right? And being able to really relive that and see the reception from the community, really seeing that joy, that excitement, that really solidified the work that we put in. And, I don't want to speak for Hunter, but I'm sure he won't forget that moment either.
Absolutely. I know he shared on his socials, picture of him standing. I think it was in a basketball court, right, where one of the wolf pups was, and his face was just beaming. So I know that was a big moment for him. So again, this pride, this excitement, strong branding builds pride, and there's clearly no shortage of that at Dothan. Sorry. So Meagan, what's been that response to these wolf pup mascots from the school communities? Not just the students, right? We've talked about the students a lot, but are you seeing sort of a boost in some school and district pride, and how is that being shown?
I think it's grown so much because now we are unified. We are, I think there was a hashtag that I don't even know where it came from, because it didn't come from my brain because I had no more brain cells. But it was a new hashtag that had popped up that said "One City, One Pack." I was like, whoever came up with that? That is fantastic, because it wasn't me. But it was great because you see that, and then you see the media start picking up the stories. We had our medias, they show up. We did the soft launch of that with the pep rally. So they were really excited to see that. And then when we launched it on our social media with the official video, because what strategically I wanted to do was, the week after we did the pep rallies, we started to do the social media changeover. And what I did was, we went in and we changed all the profile pictures on their pages. And instead of just changing the profile picture, we took that description that we were provided from Rhodes Branding that talked about why this was their unique persona, because that's what was important. Why was this persona unique to this school for our understanding? So we made that as basically the caption that permanently sits there with the new logo on each page. So as we changed over, we made sure that was part of the changeover. So, a lot of people aren't, they probably thought, I was always a Beverly Wildcat, but now I get why our students impacted to make them trendsetters. So it was great response. It was great and tremendous response to making sure that everyone is part of one Wolfpack. It was very exciting. I also forgot to mention that, unfortunately, our superintendent couldn't be there, but we were able the day before to make a head little poster thing. So he was there in spirit. So we carried that around. So you'll see him in some of the pictures of him on the stick that we pasted together in the conference room the day before. So he was so proud. He had been telling superintendents from across the state about it. So it didn't just impact our community, it impacted statewide. And he is so proud. Our community is so proud. Our students are so proud. Our principals are so proud. I remember revealing them in a principal's meeting, and the high school principal, he was like, man, I love this. So it was just great. It's awesome.
That's awesome. So I do also kind of want to ask if you could have advice for someone else in your position or a superintendent thinking about going through a rebrand process, whether it's just for one school, for 10 schools, or as a district wide. What are some key takeaways that you have and would recommend folks thinking about as they begin this process?
First, be patient with the process. I actually was very delightfully surprised how quickly the process went, but it was still very deliberate and slow, where you could be patient about, really think about it, really deliberate if that was the right font choice. So be patient about the process, but do be deliberate. One of the biggest things that I will say is also making sure that you think of it from different angles. That is one thing that I do in my position, is I make sure that I think about it as a parent, as a teacher, as a principal, as a community member, as, a business member. How do I perceive everything that's going on? So that's why when we did change over, on social media, and when we did the launch, it was very deliberate and very strategic. So I could think about it from different angles. When we showed the new logo on the district page, we showed it with the launch video with the recap of the pep rally. That was the first time we ever showed it on the district page because we wanted everybody to see this is about the students. So I'm thinking about it from the community member looking in, and they say they did this for the students. So that's one of my biggest things, is look at it from every single angle, to make sure that you're playing and you're catering to your stakeholders as well as your internal stakeholders.
Before we say goodbye, I want to say we end every podcast with the same question. So, Meagan, I'm going to pitch this one to you. If you could wave a magic wand, what is one thing that you would do to fix in education?
I wish there we go. I wish I could get my mic on. That's the first thing. Secondly, I wish that we could outweigh the negativity with the positivity. I will wave the magic wand for all of education, where if we do see these issues and problems, that we spend more time on the solutions rather than just repeating or drowning out the light with bad. If we could just get straight to, there's an issue here, let's get to work. How can we collaborate and work together to fix something? Rather than, did you hear? Do you know? I'd rather put the boots to put the work boots on or whatever. Rather than type it on the computer, just, making noise. Let's stop, less noise and more work.
That's a good one. And I know that is exactly what you do in your position. And you definitely got the work done in making this rollout happen. And we are so thankful for you and to your superintendent as well. This has been an awesome collaboration. And we can't wait to see. I can't wait to see you in person in about a month or so. And before we head out, if we can share any of your links, we'll be dropping that into the show notes here as well, guys. And you can check them out on Facebook and see all the various different wolf puppies that their elementary schools are sporting. So thank you for joining us, Meagan and Michael.
Thank you. And go Wolves.